Back to Belleville East Baseball Club social media accounts, episode 18, Lansing Conversation here. And it's been a few weeks since the last time we talked, but anyway, this week is the start of spring sports, and with that, baseball season starts this week. 3 games this week, including 2 at home this weekend. And with that, we're joined by head baseball coach for the Belleville East Lancers team, Coach Ryan Wiggs. Appreciate you taking time to join me today.
Thank you, Stephen. And I will say I really enjoyed watching you. I've talked to a lot of people. You do a great job of covering all of our sports. I watch you in the fall and the winter, and not a lot of schools get a guy like you to really cover our sports. So our kids benefit, and we really appreciate that.
I appreciate that. You didn't want to take a second to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Coach Ryan Wiggs. I'm the varsity head coach and of baseball. This is my 8th season going into it. Yeah, like Stephen said, we're getting kicked off this week with 3 games. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but our first game is Wednesday the 15th against Springfield. We got moved from today, the 14th, because it was cold. And then this weekend we play Friday at home and then Saturday morning at home, pending weather, like I said.
Yeah. So all these 8 years of coaching here at East, how did you become a coach?
I just loved playing. I went to high school at Belleville East. I loved playing baseball. I played for Coach Blomberg, who is now an assistant coach. I loved East. I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. My mom's a teacher and kind of led me down that path. I played college baseball at SIUE, and then I just always had kind of inside me a want to coach. And I especially wanted to coach back at Belleville East because Belleville East gave me so much as a student and an athlete that I wanted to give something back as a coach.
How did you fall in love with the game of baseball?
I mean, playing catch with my dad. We lived in a cul-de-sac, from the time I was 5 years old probably. My dad and I would be out there playing catch, and and then the first team I was on, some of my best friends are still from that team when I was 5 years old. So, the game is great, but it's really the relationships and the fun you have with your team and just the competitive nature of baseball that really makes me love it so much.
Your favorite thing about baseball, playing all these years now coaching?
Yeah, like I said, I think going back to the last question, the relationships, the friends you make on an athletic team are unlike anything you'll ever have in your life. And so I enjoy, the relationships I still have with some of my teammates, and I enjoy watching the relationships of our players form and bonds that they have forever. And, when former players come back to practice, that's one of the best things ever. Or when I get a text from one of them, hey, Coach, this is what I'm up to, that's really a rewarding thing.
Let's talk about your coaching staff. You mentioned Coach Blomberg. We also got Coach Brockman on there, who's very, very smart. He's got kind of the expertise as he was a pitcher in his younger days. What is it like coaching with them, and what do you learn from
Absolutely. So I tell the guys this all the time. They have 3 psychology teachers as their coaches. So we hit the mental game of baseball quite a bit. And Coach Brockman teaches AP Psych, so he brings a lot of that in. He was drafted, played some minor league baseball, pitched in the minors for a while, pitched for the Grizzlies. So he has a lot of knowledge and understanding of the pitching game. Coach Blomberg's been around the game for a really long time. He has head coaching experience. He was a great player at Belleville East himself and then at Milliken. So we bring a lot of just experience from different areas of baseball to the coaching staff.
Coach Blomberg, you mentioned that you played for him when he was a coach here. Now, what's it like coaching with him?
It's bizarre, especially, it's funny because he asked me for permission to do this and practice for this, and I think it's so bizarre because he was my head coach when I was a player. So that's kind of an interesting dynamic, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Both of those guys do an awesome job helping me on the staff. And then our underclass coaches too, they are off-campus guys, but Coach Powell and Coach Gall, who are both former players of mine from when they played here at East, do a great job with our underclass too.
Let's talk about your guys' the last year team. You guys ended up winning the regional championship against Belleville West. What was that like?
Oh, it was awesome. We had 2 games. The first one and then the semifinals was against Collinsville. And the game ended with the tying run on third base, and Joe Mendiola made a good play at third to finish the game before that guy could score. And then the regional championship, we played West, and East-West games are always intense. And Owen Kelly had a big strikeout with the tying run on third. So both games, the tying run was on third base when they ended. And so both were very competitive and really high-intensity games. And it was really fun to watch our guys just compete in those games.
This season, you guys got a good chance to go back-to-back as well.
Yeah, we have our strength is probably our pitching staff. We're pretty deep on the mound. Guys like Xander Meath, Ian DePasquale, Owen Kelly, Dylan Menino are 4 seniors that will lead the way on the mound. And then some other guys obviously will mix in. We did lose 2 pretty important hitters, our first and second batters in the order, Micah Georgian and Cannon Walker. Both were lost to graduation. So we're going to have to fill those holes offensively and defensively. But most of our pitching innings are back, and so that's kind of, we're going to be a pitch first, play good defense type of team.
Let's start off with the season. You guys kind of have a tough non-conference schedule, especially to begin the year. Let's talk about that first. You guys got Springfield first game, then you can play Lockport Friday, which I looked up. They're 34-4 last year, so they're really good. You got New Trier Saturday, and then end up playing Muscuda next week. You got a tough non-conference schedule to begin.
Yeah, before we even get started in the conference, we have a tough schedule, and then in addition to that, we go south to Hoover, Alabama for a weekend, about 3 or 4 days, and we have 4 really quality opponents there too. But you know, I think our guys have a lot of talent, and so we can play with anybody that we are put on the field against. We just have to make sure we do the little things right to come on top of those games. But yeah, we definitely, in the off season, I purposely meant to challenge our guys because I think we're up to the challenge.
Also, continuing on that, you said the Alabama trip, you also play Eureka at Busch Stadium. You also have a tough conference schedule with Edwardsville, Collinsville, O'Fallon, West, all those teams in the conference. It's going to be tough to play against. What is that? How does it help you guys?
I mean, the conference is brutally competitive. Every year, you know that Alton, West, O'Fallon, Edwardsville, Collinsville, they're going to have teams and they're going to be ready and they're going to have a good pitcher on the mound. All those teams will. So, you know, our conference schedule is really what we focus on. You know, winning the Southwestern Conference is one of our goals. And it really does set us up to be competitive in the playoffs because it's basically the way the 4A system is worked out. It's basically a conference tournament when you get to the playoffs. So that's it, all those conference games really prepare us hopefully for a deep postseason run.
Let's go and talk about the Ole Miss commit, Xander Meath. He had a really good season last year. What have you seen in his growth development going back from last year to this year?
Certainly. He is even better of a pitcher now than he was last spring. And a lot of that, too, is he's really committed, one, to his workout regimen. He's really committed to his body care. You know, he's very careful about how he takes care of himself. And also, he's really bought into the mental game. And him, as a leader, other guys have followed that, which has been really nice to see. So he is definitely a leader on the team, not only as a pitcher, but also just as a person and a young man.
To you, what does it mean to see a guy like one of your players get as far as he's got and now going to Ole Miss and has a bright future?
No, it's been so fun to watch. I mean, and he, you know, the best thing about Xander is he acts like one of the guys when he's around the guys. You know, he doesn't act like he's better than anyone. A lot of times you have a star in a team that kind of carries himself differently. Xander's not that guy, and our team follows him, and so his leadership is just as important as his on-field performance, which his leadership is just up to that same standard as his on-field performance.
Let's continue off the pitching staff. Who's some other guys you expect to back them up or pitch other
So
days
the 3
pitch?
seniors, obviously, I mentioned Owen Kelly. He's going to get the start tomorrow against Springfield. Dylan Menino, Ian DePasquale, and Xander. Those are our 4 senior guys. They'll pitch a lot of our innings, obviously. And then we have a junior, Tyreka, who will be get a lot of innings on the mound, and a sophomore, Tommy Kramkowski, who will play shortstop and also pitch. Those look to be like our top 6 pitchers right now. Really, and the order can kind of change from day to day, just depending on performance and how they do. So it's nice for me as the coach of the team to have such depth to pick from. And the internal competition makes all those guys better.
So about the lineup, what are you looking to see the order of
Yeah, so like I said, we had to replace Micah and Cannon. They were lost to graduation, 2 really important players. Caleb Guthrie looks to be the top of the order type of guy. He's a senior. He was a really important player last year. So he'll be in the outfield and hitting the top of the order. Then we have the Mendiola twins. Pat and Joe will be right there. Ian, when he doesn't pitch, plays first base, and he'll be right in the middle of our order. And then Tyreka will be a big bat in the middle of the order. Then we have a whole bunch of guys kind of mixed in that we have some internal competition for those last spots in the order.
As you guys get ready to start this week, you guys have had practices over the last few weeks. What have you seen as some strengths of the team and some weaknesses you would like to improve on coming in opening weekend?
This doesn't have anything to do with baseball, but the biggest strength of our team is our buy-in right now. They are willing to get better. They're willing to ask questions. They're willing to be coachable. And the best thing about them is that they're willing to coach each other and be receptive to that coaching from other players. sometimes as a coach you can say something a million times, but until it comes out of a player's mouth, then other players kind of respond to that. So our team is just, it's really a tight-knit group, senior heavy. We have 10 seniors on the team. They all seem pretty close. On the field strengths, our pitching depth is really going to help us out. And then one thing I think we need to kind of work on is our offensive approach early on in the season. We've been seeing too many, we've scrimmaged several times, we've been seeing too many strikeouts that we need to cut down on, put the ball in play, and make the other team, play defense. So that's strength, I would say, is the depth of our pitching, and something we need to work on is definitely cutting down the strikeouts at the plate.
Well, Coach Wiggs, I appreciate you taking time joining me. Good luck in the season.
Please come out anytime. We'll have you anytime. I'm sincere when I say this. You do a great job of covering our
I
sports.
appreciate that. I'll be out this weekend.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you.